As Montreal enters the trade deadline as buyers and names start to appear on the market, the prospect of management clearing room and making a reasonable trade that makes good sense sometimes gets overshadowed by a flashy blockbuster. There's one name that sticks out to me that makes a lot of structural sense. Let's talk about it. I thought it would be fun today to take a lot of the rumor mill stuff and tell you why personally I don't really like it, but then as compensation give you one name that I do like. But before we do that, why not hit that subscribe button? Our community is growing and now we're aiming at 23,000 subscribers. Can you help me get there? Also, check us out on Discord. I'll have a link in the description, and everyone else, you can still help me out. Hit that like button, helps with something I think, and then leave a comment or whatever. So who exactly is on the market? Well, there's quite a few teams that are selling currently. As we get closer to the deadlines, a few other teams will hit the tipping point and likely be sellers as well. But for right now, we know the Blues, the Canucks, Flames, Rangers, Preds, actually not the Preds, not just yet. Maple Leafs, Blackhawks, Sharks, Jets, and Devils are sellers. The big name that gets tossed around a lot and I think is kind of trade bait for every team in the NHL currently is Robert Thomas. I shouldn't say every team. You know, every team would probably want to add him, and only on certain teams would he make sense. But he's one of the best centers in the league at his price point. At $8.1 million, he has a full no trade protection in place, making trading for him difficult. Montreal would need to part with quality assets and probably something foundational, something like a load-bearing wall, something like Caden Gooley. In addition to that, to make it even more painful, they probably would like Michael Hage. Think about the Quinn Hughes deal, but with Montreal players. The Blues also have Kyrou and Brayden Schenn. But if Montreal is hunting for a forward, I think it's got to be a center. Looking at Vancouver, you've got Elias Pettersson, Jake DeBrusk, Connor Garland, Teddy Bluger, David Kampf, and Evander Kane. Can you imagine Evander Kane on the Montreal Canadiens? He would definitely be providing something that they're missing. It's not something that I would necessarily want to inject, though, into the team. Pettersson and DeBrusk are obvious talent on the wing, but their price make them too expensive. And then the rentals help the bottom six, but don't solve core needs. Doesn't feel like a fit there. With Calgary, you're looking at Blake Coleman, Nazem Kadri, Zach Whitecloud, and Morgan Frost. Actually kind of like the idea of Whitecloud. He's got some grit and he has the ability to clear the front of the net, something that I think is very important for the Habs right now. Coleman and Kadri both have playoff experience. They, no doubt, would be very good in the playoffs for the Habs. But Kadri's contract is term. It doesn't exactly fit Montreal's timeline. And Coleman is intriguing, but still doesn't address a major defensive issue. Looking at the Rangers, you might as well not even look at the Rangers. It seems like they're off the market completely for the Canadiens. Some people insist that it's bitterness between the Rangers and Jeff Gorton. But whatever it is, Vincent Trocheck, Jonathan Quick, Brendan Othman, and Braden Schneider, I don't think that they're a real fit anyhow. Trocheck is a quality center, but also expensive and probably too rich for Montreal's timeline and price point, while Schneider is a defenseman with interest, but his upside is still projection. How big is Schneider anyway? Size does matter. So 24 years old, 6'3", 206 pounds. He can play like 20-something minutes a night. Toronto's another team probably wouldn't want to do a lot of business with Montreal. Doing business within your own division is, it doesn't happen a whole heck of a lot. But you have Benoit, and then you have McMahon, Lawton, so on. Sounds like Toronto kind of wants to do a clean house. Everyone except for Matthews and Nylander. Personally, if I were Toronto, I might consider taking offers on Matthews and maybe Nylander as well. But realistically, the Leafs don't have any impactful pieces or pieces that fit the timeline that Montreal can acquire. Now, the Chicago Blackhawks, Foligno, Murphy, Dickinson, Grzelcyk. One name stands out to me, and we'll get back to that. And there's the San Jose Sharks, lots of defenders on the board, Klingberg, Ferraro. Depth health can be had here, and, you know, they might look at that direction if they want something cheap and short term. Then the Winnipeg Jets, mostly rentals and depth here. Schenn, Nyquist, etc. Winnipeg isn't expected to do massive selling. I feel like they're kind of a team that believe they had a bad year, but they don't believe they're as bad as what they did this year. Hellebuck was injured, and I think they feel like if they had another kick at the can, they would have been much better. And then finally, the New Jersey Devils. Dougie Hamilton. Hamilton is definitely a desirable defenseman. It's just we absolutely do not need another offensive defenseman on the Canadiens. We need more rangy, annoying, hard to play against defensemen. The Canadiens have skill, they have speed, they have young puck movers, but there's one glaring issue. They lack real size and defensive presence in front of the net. Montembeault and Dobesh have had to deal with so much screens recently. And when it gets to playoff time, do you think that's going to get much easier? Look, someone like Lane Hudson can move the puck beautifully, but he's undersized for crease battles. Carrier and Matheson are great defenders, but they don't reliably clear the front of the net. Matheson sometimes has to play half the game as well. Are you really going to trust him to have to take out bigger guys than him in front of the net all game long? Xhekaj has the size, Xhekaj has the muscle, but he's not trusted. Sometimes he gets less than 10 minutes a game. And the time to test him in front of the net during difficult situations and hard deployments, it's not going to be during the playoffs. And then there's Guhle, who is supposed to be that type of player, but he's not a finished product yet. When he came back, he felt like he was a couple strides behind, but let's see if he can catch up with himself. What Montreal lacks is a large physical defender who can own the paint and shut down opposing players in front of the net and in dirty areas. So let's talk about Connor Murphy. Dang, man, that was, I had that whole video recorded. They got him for a second as well, and it was salary retained. Dang it, man. Obviously, Murphy is just a really reliable veteran D that would fill in for like a David Savard stay-at-home defensive role. It's something that the team, I feel, lacks quite a bit right now. And I was excited. I thought that that was a really good idea. In contrast to what everyone's really excited about, the Robert Thomas trade, which I guess I'll talk about instead, Murphy could have been acquired for fairly cheap, and it's almost like a risk-free deal. But of course, he would go to Edmonton. That's a better spot for him to land, I guess, if he's looking to win, or if he's looking for a team that follows his timeline a little bit more, and maybe he can latch on, get a little bit of an extension. So yeah, obviously that tracks. Now, the thing that I don't like about Thomas is what they're talking about in terms of trade value. I said earlier in the video, yeah, you're looking at something like an established NHL player, an A-tier prospect, another A-ish type prospect, somebody that's going to latch in the NHL, maybe like a Owen Beck or a Adam Engstrom type player. And then you're looking at a first round draft pick, it's huge, right? So if it's Guhle right there, I think it's not negotiable. Guhle needs to latch. He needs to find his role on Montreal. He needs to be that annoying, big, defensive, rangy player. And I think that Guhle is definitely a very important part of the team. He brings a lot of what the Canadiens need. I think he just needs to be more annoying to play against. He's only 24 years old. He still has some time to develop. The defensemen develop longer than forwards in the NHL. But thinking of players like, and this season's probably a bad season, but Thomas Harley, who is also 24 years old, he had a really good season last season, I find. And I would like to see Guhle be along the same lines as Thomas Harley. I think he could do it. But what's harder to find, like a top center in the league or a tall, rangy, annoying to play against defenseman? But then combine that with Hage, who I believe has the potential of being, I'm going to be realistic here, probably a 2C in the league. It starts to sting quite a bit, and then you factor in how important that first round pick is and how coveted they are in the NHL. You're talking big money. But fortune favors the bold. You can't just go out and find a top center in the league like Robert Thomas. You can't just buy them. They don't become available that often. And he has his problems too, like he misses some time. So I'm worrisome about it. I'm probably one of the individuals that is on the bottom half of the hype train for Thomas. But if it ever happened, I would embrace it with both arms. So I guess we'll have to see what happens. In terms of long, lanky defensemen, right shot, hopefully. Right shot is preferred. Who do you think the Habs could target? Let me know in the comments, and I'll get back to the books and see if I can find anything else. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Weird video. Hope you still enjoyed it. Hope it was entertaining. And you guys know how to help me out. Hit the like button. It helps me out with probably something. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you. And as always, I will see you down in the comments.